We are the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1008, located here in Lancaster County. We are members, we have over 100 members of all Vietnam era and Vietnam in-country veterans served in the U.S. Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force.
Good morning. Myself and the rest of us were members of the Lancaster chapter of Vietnam Veterans of America organization, which we're very proud of being part of. This is an organization that's open to Vietnam era veterans. Most of us were served in Vietnam, either in actual combat roles or combat support roles.
Between 64 and 1973, 27 million men were draft eligible. Of that number, 40% were drafted, but only 10% went to Vietnam. You have to recognize that the Vietnam was made up of a lot of volunteers, and the age is spread across all the different services.
When I came back, it ended up, I just threw my seat back in the bottom of the basement, and that's where it's gone. Got spit on and everything else, so I just forgot about Vietnam, forgot about the Navy, forgot about everything. About 4 years ago, I became members here, members of the Navy Club, members of the Honor Guard. So what started me that is I found out I had diabetes and it was service related. So I went and had it checked out. Found out, they said, well, let's test you for Agent Orange. Needless to say, after 3 tests and all that, they found my one lung had some sort of a tumor in there. They said, you can go through chemo or you can have it removed. So I said, remove it. So they removed it, sent it to Pittsburgh, found out. I thought it might have been asbestos because our ship was loaded with asbestos too. They came back and said it was a herbicide. I said, what are you talking about? They said, Agent Orange. So I had a lung removed there. From that point on, everything started going downhill. Got me on an inhaler, and about 4 months ago, they put me on another inhaler twice a day. I'm taking pills like you wouldn't believe. I feel like I walk in a pharmacy. I take like 13 or 14 pills, 2 inhalers in the morning. Afternoon, I take 2 pills. The evening, I take 2 pills. But I turn around on the inhaler 6 times a day, 2 times a day with the other one. So, unfortunate to say, but I'm still alive. Thank God for that.
What was life like on the base in Vietnam?
Hamburgers. What we were looking for was a good hamburger.
Yeah.
We got on base.
I was always on a fire base because I was artillery, and what they did is they just came in and cleared off the top of a mountain, and then they would set us down, our guns down with helicopters and things like that. For 10 months of the 12 months that I was there, we ate sea rations. We did not have hot food, and we of course were pretty filthy because we didn't really have any water to speak of that you would use for cleaning. It was mostly for drinking and things like that. We got 2 changes of clothes a month, and every month they would bring in this Connex and set up showers down on the helicopter pad, and the guys would just go down streaming to these showers, ripping off their clothes because they were all filthy and things like that. And so, of course, at night you were always on alert, and daytime pretty much you had downtime that you could do because they generally did not attack during the daytime. And it was just a way of life. It was all guys on a fire base doing the things that they had to do, getting their weapons ready and things like that.
All right, this is an advertisement for helicopter pilots if you have any thoughts about flying. Being in a helicopter unit, you have to understand that our gasoline is back at base camp. All our ammunition is back at base camp. So consequently, I would say 99% of the time, I may have left base camp flying somewhere, but I always came back to a nice bed, my own cot. There at Cu Chi, we had a 55-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool. I think every unit on the base camp had an NCO club and an officers club. So consequently, you had places to go drink and eat. And that was, so all I can say is that I had a good time at base camp. There were some good times, there were some bad times, but
These are one of the select
Just
few.
to kind of show you how different things operated. There was a base camp, which is usually the division base camp, and Steve mentioned about fire support bases. That's where the artillery was. So the infantry guys usually provided security. I don't know if that's true for you, Steve. We provided security at night for the fire support bases. There's also what they call a hot spot, sometimes they're called LZs, where infantry unit would go out and set up a temporary perimeter. Yeah, helicopters, yeah. If you were in the 25th Division, you usually got helicopter. We didn't walk all that far.
What was it like adjusting to the climate of South Vietnam?
That's a good question. That climate was, when I landed in country, you had to stay on one of the bases for 2 weeks just to get climatized. The temperature during the summertime was 115 degrees with high humidity. You just sweat day in and day out. I lost 35 pounds in 14 months, and it was mostly water coming off. The more you drank, the more came out.
We took salt pills, we took malaria pills. The salt pills was to keep the dehydration. So it was hot. The only time it was better was in the monsoon season. Then it was cool. There were excessive rains, and during the night it got pretty cold.
My baptism with the weather in Vietnam came when I landed at Tan Son Air Force Base, and they had us double time off the tarmac to the building because they said my boots would melt. And that's how hot the actual tarmac was. I saw one of the questions on the sheet was, did you ever have any encounters with wild animals? So I thought I'd tell you my funny story. I was fire direction control for artillery. And the first thing you did when you moved to a fire base was to build the fire direction control hooch, which allowed us to do our work with the cannons and things. And then after that, then we got to build our individual hooches. And every time you moved, we moved probably 13 times to different fire bases. We always had to build these hooches. So we landed in the morning. It took us 3 hours to build the FDC hooch. After that, we went over and started building our 4-man hooch that we had. And it took us 2 hours to do that. And we decided we'd take a break and eat our sea rations and things like that. And we're sitting there, we're looking over this beautiful Ashaw Valley. There's a big waterfall on the other side of we're just really thinking this is really great. And we see this little emerald green snake crawl into that hooch that we just built. It was a bamboo viper, so we decided that nobody wanted to go in there after that snake, so we went and build another hooch.